As a leader or manager, you have two jobs. There are two different parts of your role. On the one hand, you're an individual contributor. You have your work wherever that is in the business, whether you're in marketing or engineering, finance, sales, operations, customer success. There are things that you are responsible for based on your subject matter expertise and your technical know-how and your experience that's come to this point. And as a manager or leader, again, regardless of seniority, the other part of your job, which I would say is the better part of your job and the better part of where your effort needs to be, is on the people leadership part. How are you going to create a result in your specific domain through other people? How are you going to get a team of people to do the thing that you know how to do at scale? How are you going to get them to do that in a way where they stay together, where they operate at a high level, and where people get the coaching and development that they're hungry for? So at Refound, the way we're going to have you do this is with a mindset that we call more Yoda, less superhero. What we found is that the vast majority, almost everybody I've ever worked with, needs a little more Yoda and a lot less superhero in the way that they go about the second of those two roles, the people leadership part. So what do we mean by more Yoda, less superhero? Let's break that down a little bit. So we can think of superheroes, Thor, Wonder Woman, or Black Panther, to name a few. What do they do? How do they operate? What's their MO? The way that they show up in the world is to save the world and to sacrifice themselves in the process. The superhero leader is everywhere. You're in every meeting, you're watching every email, you're monitoring everything. You're constantly intervening in the work on one level, and it goes even deeper than that. You're filling in the gaps, you're asking the contextual questions, you're seeing around the corners, you're worrying constantly about all of the roles around you and filling in the blanks to make sure nothing ever falls, because you can. But it's exhausting and it's not sustainable. And most importantly, it doesn't give the people on your team the opportunity to stretch. People don't feel like there's a learning opportunity in it for them because you're everywhere. You're taking up too much space. Now let's contrast that with what it would feel like to be more like Yoda. So Yoda, on the other hand, is really all about the other half of your job. And the way a Yoda type leader is going to operate is very different. You're really focused on finding the balance of asking yourself in a vigilant way, is this work that I should be doing? Sometimes that's the case. Or is this work that other people should be doing? And my job is to coach them to do it in a better way or a different way or in a more collaborative way. The Yoda leader in that Yoda mindset, you're always looking for meetings that you shouldn't be at. You're always looking for email threads that you shouldn't be on. You're always looking for tasks and projects and milestones that aren't genuinely your accountability so that you can have a conversation with someone and say, hey, actually, this is in my inbox. This is on my task list, but probably shouldn't be. Let's talk about that. And let's start with the place where Yoda really earns their keep, and that's in your one-on-ones. So when that person walks into your office or onto the video call, Yoda doesn't go into, where are we with this? Where are we with that? Tell me about these tasks. Give me these updates. And they don't create the expectation in the person that that's what they're looking for. Rather, it's a conversation about, talk to me about how things are going. What are you seeing? What are you noticing on the team? They're coaching questions. How are you feeling about this project? What concerns do you have? Is there some way that we could talk about it that might be helpful? Is there something that you've got on your mind that you don't maybe have all the data for, but you'd love a sounding board for? One of the traps that people fall into when they start practicing this mindset of more Yoda, less superhero is to mistakenly think that it's very hands-off, right? That it's like, oh, well, I'm just being more Yoda. I've actually had leaders tell me that and they say, well, I'm just being more Yoda. The team's going to figure it out. Well, not so fast, right? It can also be okay to be in superhero mode as a leader or even as a senior executive some of the time. There are always moments where you need to intervene, where you need to exercise that superhero muscle and to find that sweet spot where you're there, you're present, you're not off, drinking coffee and having a good time. You're there and you're engaged with the work, but you're not overly in the work and filling in the gaps for people. It's about creating the result without burning yourself out in the process. So that's really where our focus is in this course, is helping you find the right balance. And if you're like just about everybody that I've ever met, that means more Yoda, less superhero. There's a moment, and it's an incredible moment, and it's unmistakable with every leader I've ever worked with and every leader and manager that has ever come through any of our programs at Refound. What it feels like is a sense of not knowing what your value is, of realizing that when I pulled back from being superhero, of trying to be everywhere in everything for everyone, it was uncomfortable because I had to question, well, what's my value? What am I doing here? Isn't that my job? We're pretty good, most of us, at the individual work. It's what we know, it's our comfort zone. Where we struggle, what's more uncomfortable, which is why we're here to do this work, that's why you're in this course, is how might you approach it a little differently? How might you think about it more like Yoda and say, well, I could do this myself, but I shouldn't. And so you'll know that you're on track when you have that experience for yourself. When it starts to feel a little bit uncomfortable, you think, oh, wait a second, I'm not sure this is my value. Like, what if people don't notice that I'm doing this coaching? When you want to grow, when you want to become a better version of yourself, you have to let go of a current version of yourself. That's the only way personal growth works. So it's those questions and a sense of uncertainty where you'll know that you're on track. So where we're gonna go next is a series of exercises to help you understand your unique superhero style. Why do you show up the way that you do? And how does that inform the decisions that you're making day to day, how you organize your calendar, how you think about the people on your team, and how you think about your own journey as a leader? And then we're gonna focus on how you can achieve a better balance and what more Yoda, less superhero looks like for you in your unique circumstance.